kind of getting things going here. I think I might be streaming right now. Yep, that red text across the top of XSplit indicates as much. I think so the first video is posted now. Just put the few comments that we had inside there as time hop links, so should be able to jump. It's only 3 of them in that first hour and a half or so, but still should be fairly decent. I did. Yep. James, I had a wonderful lunch. You can thank Colleen Williams for that. That is... I believe that is Colleen's Twitter handle. Let me just double check that. I should have probably double checked it before I posted it in there. Let's see. Call Williams. Yes. So... Colleen actually brought in lunch today. She's been kind of my neighbor for quite a while now, sitting just on the other side of our little partition right here. And phenomenal person, has been wonderful on the Edge team. Super, super helpful. What is happening? What's this prompt? My remote desktop connection. So, yeah, Colleen actually brought lunch today. Really, really wonderful person. Let's see. All right, so I got a couple more URLs that came in. Let's look at this one. Another slow site. So this one is, this looks like it's going to be a Belgium site maybe. So about 6 minutes into this video, I think I can maybe get the whole process kicked off. Might even do a bit of an intro, although I'll have to hard link or deep link to the intro portion whenever I'm sharing the link so that people don't get all the weird stuff that just happened, the 5-6 minutes of really dead air and stuff. Hello everybody, my name is Jonathan Sampson. I'm a program manager on the Microsoft Edge team. I have been doing these weekend debug sessions for a couple of years now. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I've been coming in and debugging over the weekends for a couple of years now, but only recently started doing these debug sessions over YouTube, maybe a month or two ago, tops. It's kind of unfortunate that we didn't start these earlier because I also, in the last week or so, announced that I would be unfortunately leaving Microsoft. Going to move on to a new opportunity, but I still wanted to continue doing these up until my date of resignation, because this is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to hang out with all of you. A lot of fun to actually debug these sites, these slow and broken sites together. Get to cover exactly how it is we do it here on the team. How the engineers here, how we performance test websites, how we track memory usage, how we track performance bottlenecks. Figure out what is actually causing the experience to be poor across the web. And so this has been a great opportunity for us to kind of meet and talk and kind of learn through some of these processes together. So thank you for joining me today. This happens to be the second broadcast of the day. I just got in having a bit of lunch, following the first hour and a half of broadcast. And yeah, we'll see what we wind up looking at today. So Evil Pro 22, hey, how's it going? This is the chat room over here. If you join on youtube.com/C as in channel /Jonathan Sampson /live, you should be able to join this chat room right here. Might have to log in. That'd be helpful because then you'll have a name and stuff. Jason Diaz, how's it going? I don't know what H4E means though. That's okay. Yeah, we'll just see if maybe you can explain what that means. I'm going to announce on Twitter that we are now broadcasting. Oh, nice. So Jason has a website that has a bug that we can actually check out. So I'm going to share on Twitter that we're broadcasting real quick, and then we can get things up and running. Actually, I do want to make one real quick change to the first broadcasting to make a change to the title. Actually indicates that was the first stream. That was, what is today? September 10th, 2016, part 1 of 2. Okay, so now we can start the September 10th, part 2 of 2. Let's see, so I'm going to announce that I'm actually live for anyone who is wanting to tune in. youtube.com/C /Jonathan Sampson /live. Okay. Put a smiley face on that. I'm so addicted to using smiley face emojis. I don't know why. Just a cheerful fella, I guess. Starting the second broadcast of the day. Tune in with your slow, broken sites. Also welcome web dev questions. And I'm kind of going to relocate my smiley face. There we go. Okay, tweeting this out now. Starting the second broadcast of the day, tune in with your slow broken sites. Also welcoming web dev questions. All right, so if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow the Sampson MSFT, Jason, I just got your link. Thank you very much. You don't mind retweeting that, I'd appreciate it, and that would hopefully encourage more people to join in and join us on the last ever Microsoft, I don't know if it's last ever, but at least last for right now, Microsoft Weekend Warrior Debugging dealio. Did I mess something up? I think I might have messed something up. That didn't go straight to my broadcast. Why did that not go straight to my broadcast? Huh. We are live. That's Jonathan Sampson live. Huh. Interesting. I thought that goes straight to the actual video itself. What is the dealio here? Well, I might remake this tweet. For some reason, it is not going straight to the video whenever I click that link. And I don't see on there on YouTube where it links to the live video. This is totally ruining my mojo, man. Huh. All right, well, I'm going to redo this link. I apologize to everybody who just retweeted that. I'm going to try this again. That's a real bummer. So I'm going to delete that earlier tweet and try this again with a link directly to the video URL. Okay, so let's try this. That goes to where we are right now. Excellent. Okay, so again, I apologize if you tweeted that out. I just deleted it. It's a real bummer. Again, I'm sorry. Yeah, but this should be a URL that actually works. That opens up to, yeah, there we go. Now we're in business. Now we're cooking with gas. James wins this one. So James Smith was the, or Smythe, was the very first one to retweet that. So Michael West, man, you're off your game. You're usually number one. Okay. Let's, Thiago Script says, eu gostei do vídeo que você fez ontem, caminhando dentro do Microsoft, ficou muito bom. So he's saying he liked the video I did yesterday of walking around Microsoft. Loved it as well. It's a lot of fun walking around Microsoft. The good thing is, even after I leave Microsoft, I can still walk around Microsoft. I don't have to have a blue badge to walk around the campus. It's a beautiful campus, great place to walk. A lot of little kind of signs and stuff. If you're the type of person who likes to jog and run several miles, you can actually do that too. Let's see here. So, Rushab, hello, how you doing? So Lee Bridgewater says that, let's see, the Major League Baseball website from earlier, the video plays fine along with normal loading the website in Edge. Based in the UK and do not receive the initial intro video. Actually, I think, Lee, I might have saw that you commented on the bug itself. So thank you very much for that. That is definitely good to have the additional context. Let's see. So James, the link that I just tweeted, so the very last tweet from my account, that should take you straight to the video. The one before that, I tweeted out youtube.com/c/Jonathan Sampson /live. That was taking me to my profile for some reason. I don't know why that was. So, yeah, interesting. So TFW boredom. Again, I'm assuming that means that feeling when boredom. I don't know. Is asking if I think I'll be able to stream or Periscope and walk around the new workplace once you are there. That assumes there is a new workplace. I'm just saying, a little bit of a hint. It's, I may not be actually going to another office. I may not be going to a building. I mean, just to give you an idea, That's hatception right there. Hats on hats. All right. Yeah, I'm going to put that hat away. That's my light bulb hat, though. For good ideas. And for giving people good ideas. But as I said in previous broadcasts, streaming is something that's just in my genetic fiber. Doing videos and stuff, it is something I just love to do. So it is not likely that I will stop doing videos or stop streaming in the near future. If anything, I will continue doing them, just from a different environment. Maybe not an office, though. Who knows? Okay, so let's see here. So we got actually a couple URLs, and I think, Jason, you just sent me a URL as well of something to test. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Where was Jason's tweet? It just came in like a moment ago. Oh, there it is. Okay. Nope, that was Jason retweeting. Okay, here we go. So nerdstore.com.br. Let's pull this up. So Jason, if you could explain the problem, explain what you're seeing, that would be really helpful. So let's open this up, and we'll see what we get. I'm going to open it up just on my desktop over here. I did notice that. That's awesome. Lançamento Projeto Stranger. Camisetas exclusivas. Nossa, eu amei essa série. Os coisas estrangeiros. Stranger Things. Okay, yeah, this is definitely... So this page is definitely kind of locking up on me. I'm checking on my desktop right now. I am seeing the not responding in the address bar. Let me... Oh, Jason, você pode me ajudar? Como que você escuta essa... Como que você assiste esse programa? Em inglês, com legenda, dublado? Como? E aonde também, se você pode responder. So, let's see. We are at 17 minutes and 50 seconds. Doing nerdstore.com.br. So in a section in the products and Edge, there's a huge space appears above the items. I see that on the link that you sent. And so what I want to do is I'll probably pull this up. It seems like it's a safe site, so there's nothing inappropriate. I can go ahead and pull this up over here. Actually, can remote into my other device and actually share the screen on the desktop here. So let me see if I can do that right now. I would love to know, yeah, like if you're watching Stranger Things in Brazil, I'd love to know how. It's, minha sogra, acho que ela vai gostar muito dessa série, mas ela não fala inglês. Então, se você tem uma opção dublado com legenda, me explica. Com legendas em português ou legendas em inglês? So this computer is actually falling asleep on me. That's why my remote connection stopped working. Claro, minha sogra é uma brasileira. Paulista. Ela gosta muito daquele programa Sobrenatural. Então, tô pensando que talvez o Stranger Things é muito parecido com o Sobrenatural. Então, deve ser, ela vai gostar também, o Stranger Things. So you is it English subtitles or Portuguese subtitles? Legendas em inglês ou português? Okay, so I want to check out the space real quick. Actually, I'm going to pull up the site over here. Dublado em português. Nossa, aonde? Lá no televisão, em Brasil, você usa um serviço na internet, o Netflix em Brasil tem dublado em português, legenda em português, ou não? Okay. Let's see. Everybody else, you're just going to have to just guess what Jason and I are talking about. We're talking about actually watching the Netflix series Stranger Things. Super, super fun. Oh, it was so awesome. Here in America, the United States, you only have English on the show. Like, I don't think you don't only have English. I think maybe like English, Spanish, and French, but no Portuguese. And so in my household, Portuguese-speaking household, it would be wonderful to be able to listen in Portuguese or have subtitles in Portuguese, but we don't have that, unfortunately. não é uma opção aqui nos Estados Unidos. Aqui a gente não tem português. Opção português. Eu acho que não tem. Okay, so let me pull up this site real quick. Let's see, I'm going to close down this browser. I'm going to pull up the website that Jason has shared with us, and we're going to start to kind of inspect it just a little bit. So we are at, might need to update my time here. So 21, we'll do at 22 minutes is when we started looking at this, because that's like, what, 10 seconds away? So into this, this whole broadcast right here. Thiago, bem-vindo. I think we had another Brazilian join the broadcast as well. Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to pull up the URL that Jason has shared with me. And that is, where is that? nerdstore.com.br. Busca FQ equals H:362. And let's share the screen here so you can see kind of what we're looking at. So this is the site. Wait, maybe I didn't get that right. I want to make sure that I have this correct. So nerdstore.com.br/busca FQ equals H:362. Here we go. Okay, so and Jason's reporting that we have this large gap above the content, and so you can see that gap right here. I want to open this up inside of another browser just to take a look at how it looks. I don't actually think. Let me see here. So I'm going to open that up. So here's Firefox. We'll open it up here and see what it looks like inside there. Do a quick comparison side by side with the two browsers. So this is going to be again nerdstore.com.br busca FQ equals H:362, I believe. No, I messed that up again. What did I do? So let's try this. Busca FQ equals H:362. Interesting. I guess I had to do that twice. So there is not a large gap above the content here. So that's definitely, don't know why we would have that inside Edge. But let's go ahead and try to figure that out. So let's close this. We'll go back and open up Edge inside the remote connection here, the remote desktop. And I'm going to click right in the center of here and just click Inspect Element. Now, the context menu is not going to have the Inspect Element option unless you have opened up your developer tools at least once in the past. And so when you initially open up Microsoft Edge and you right-click, you're going to see Select All and Print. You're not going to see the developer options unless you've indicated that you are a developer. You can do so by pressing F12 on your keyboard or by going up to the action dots up here, expanding that, and then clicking F12 DevTools here. Once you do that, you'll actually be prompted and informed that you will now have the developer tools inside your context menu for future convenience. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this particular portion of the DOM real quick and see if we can figure out why it does not collapse. Why is there this giant space? So I'm going to bring my DevTools down just a bit, go over to DOM Explorer, and we'll just click out inside here. So this, you'll notice this is all part of the same portion of the DOM. All of these pictures and stuff, they're not being pushed down by something. The container that they are in is actually contains the space that we're seeing too. So I'll just click anywhere on there. You notice here is the div element. We can turn on highlighting again. So we'll click right here to turn on highlighting. So you notice as I move up and click on different elements, we see different things respond. Let's look at the computed layout here. So you can see this is 700 pixels wide by 1934.68 pixels tall. And okay, so let's figure out what's going on here. If what we see here's our UL. The UL itself is the list of images. Looks like we get 1 UL per every 3. So this will have 3 list items inside of it. Sure enough, it does. Okay. Let's go up real quick and figure out. Let's see here. Let's look at this one. There's an offset here of 63 pixels. Let's just kind of poke at this for a second real quick. Let's go back and look at the styles. So this has no margin, no padding, no list style. The inside one has no margin, no padding, no list style. Let's look at the first UL right here. That has no border, no padding. It has a slight margin, and it has a width. Let me turn off a couple of these. So this margin is doing something pretty wild right here. So you notice with the margin disabled, the content drops all the way back up to the very top. With the margin enabled, the content drops all the way down to the very bottom. And we can expand this out to see exactly what the different values are. So margin top is 15 pixels, margin left is -10, margin right is -10. We can start to turn off some of these, the left and the right. There we go. So these negative values appear to be causing the issue. So margin left, -10 pixels. I'm going to just start to turn that down a little bit. So -10 pixels. We have that value there. Let's just start to drop it down. 3, 2, 1, 0. So right now I'm just kind of stepping through individual values. So here we go. Here's 10 pixels. You notice it supports 10 pixels. That kind of makes sense, does it? Because we have the right 10 pixels as well. This is really odd kind of thing that they're doing here with these negative margins. 9, it drops down. 10, it's up there. So this is kind of what we're facing. You can see we're looking at the UL right now, the unordered list. You can see that it is kind of, let's see, if we go to the color real quick, you can see the margins of the unordered list are right here, the gold box. And so you can see the actual blue portion, which is in this case, the unordered list itself. It is being pressed out even beyond its own margins. So the easiest solution to this would be for the website to stop doing the crazy stuff with the margins. You notice here, if we just turn off all these margins and then close the DevTools, that will pull off the UI that indicates which element is selected. And right now, everything lays out just fine because we don't have that large, crazy kind of margin inside there. So what we want to do is start to reduce this down to just as few bytes as possible that still show this excessive wrapping or the pushing of the content down. And so this is maybe something we can share just real quick over Twitter, let people know that we're going to start to work on a reduction based on this particular site and see if we can identify maybe a way to repro this that shows the problem in as few bytes as possible. So let's go and we'll do this. So I want to get a link to the live video, which is still not showing up for me. That's so bizarre. I wonder if it's because of cache, like if I'm getting a cached version of this page. Yeah, I don't know. That's so weird. Okay, So I'm going to grab Extra Mania Gamer asks, why is it that dark in your office? It's because the foreground light should be illuminating the subject of the video and not the environment. And so I turn the lights off and I turn this light on to make it a little easier to focus on what exactly we're doing here. Let's see. So I want to grab, okay, I'm going to say that we're going to start to work on a reduction for this particular site here. So starting a layout reduction for nerdstore.com.br. Tune in to watch, learn, and discuss. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share that out now. And I believe that should still take straight to the video. Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do for this particular reduction is I'm going to use Fiddler. Fiddler is definitely going to be really helpful in this case. One of the first things that we're probably going to do, though, is just try to use the developer tools and start pulling out portions of the page that are probably not going to be key to the layout issue itself. So you look at over on the right, on the left side of the page, we have so collectibles, I believe, Cozinha Kitchen. I don't know. Canecas. I'm not sure what canecas is. Canetas is pins, though. Shirts, books, accessories, collectibles, cozinha. I don't know, Jason, você tem que me ajudar. O que é cozinha? Porque eu só penso de cozinha, o lugar que você cozinha. O lugar que você cozinhar. I don't know what cozinha is in this case. Yeah, decorations, games, and so, yeah, we'll see here. So we can pull out this side items here. We don't really need those to reproduce this particular issue, presumably. So let's refresh the page. And, mas o que a cozinha tem de Nerd Store? O que é isso? Não tem nada da outra, né? Você pode comprar coisas para sua cozinha? I'm trying to think. Is this like mugs? Ah, okay. Okay, I was trying to figure out like what in the world does kitchen have to do with with collectibles and stuff? Então, obrigado. Let's see here. So I can see the layout issue here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the DevTools again, and we can start to kind of peel some pieces off of the page. So we already know it's going to be a margin issue in that particular kind of main region right there. So what I'm going to do is kind of move my DevTools off to the side just a little bit where I can see them. And we're going to come in here and just start pulling some stuff out and keeping a close eye on the large gap that we want to preserve. We want to preserve that crazy gap for as long as we can. We don't want that to go away. If we do something that makes it go away, we're going to do Control-Z real quick and undo whatever it was that we did and try to do something else. We want to start to peel away as much of the DOM as we can without losing that gap. So let's start with... here's my entire sidebar, left column. I'm going to delete that whole thing and see what happens. Okay, that is not what I want. You notice the entire gap went away. I don't want that. So I'm going to do Control-Z to bring back that entire column right there. I want to preserve that again for as long as I possibly can. So what we're going to do is jump inside here real quick. That's main content. Where is my left column? Here we go. And I might even try something else. If I put that left column on the other side of the main content, so you can click and drag this, you notice that blue line indicates where it's going to go. And so if I put that underneath, let's see, left column, that still is not what I want. So I'm going to leave main column inside there, and I'm going to expand that out, and we'll look at nav left. We'll just delete that. So doing that, you notice it actually pushed the content even further down. So now this is making sense. So the height of that gap, you'll notice the top of these ULs are trying to line up with whatever is in that left side right there. So if I do Control Z to bring back the first element, you'll notice now that the content is flush with that left column right there. So if I go back inside left nav, we have menu department, and we delete that. That's going to, presumably, it's going to cause all of this to come up to about here. Sure enough, it does. Okay, so that's really interesting. Now this might be because it's floated over there. So if we start to look at the design of this, sure enough, it is floated, has a width of 230. If we looked next to it, there's main content. Main content, you notice, has a margin left, and the margin left is 240. So they're trying to push, you know, this entire blue region right there. Naturally, it wants to be over here. It wants to be flush. So if we were to take that margin left off, you notice it's what is happening here actually? It is side by side because this is floated left. The margin left pushes it out just a bit further. And so that might be enough for us to start looking at kind of our reduction. So I'm going to turn padding off here. I'm going to turn off margin bottom. This possession relative is probably not useful. Let's see, I'm going to turn off main content. So you notice there's a couple different margins right here. We have an initial margin here that sets it to 220. So this would be the, that's top, right, bottom, and left. 220. So if we turn that off, we're still okay because this rule up here is actually setting the margin to 240. We can turn off all this margin stuff right here. It's all, I don't know, actually that's, you really want to avoid doing this kind of margin padding zero stuff on the splat, because that is that's going to affect form elements and stuff like that as well, which is not always exactly what we want. Okay, so let's look at this. So we have the left column here. Let's get rid of this breadcrumb. I don't think any of this stuff is going to be necessary. The two things that look like they're going to be most important is the left column and the main column. And so this center item, we can probably get rid of that. Tarja, we can get rid of that. These footer and stuff, we can't really see those yet, but let's go ahead and get rid of header because that's not going to be necessary either. This div class up here, we'll get rid of that. Let's see what else do we have up here. This div for loading. We have comments up here. Now the body might actually have, let's see here. Nope, the body doesn't have it, but this div right here might have kind of a margin top or something inside here. We have a min width of 970. We can just don't care about that a whole lot. Let's look at layout real quick. I want to figure out what this layout is up here. This 151, you can see there's something up there that actually pushed this down. So let's look at the it uses UA detection. Well, there is definitely some UA detection inside there. You notice that they identify the browser as Chrome 51. And so they're definitely trying to do some UA detection inside there. But this particular issue should not have anything to do with UA detection necessarily. So inside here, I'm going to get rid of some of these items. So we have the main. Let's leave this stuff right here. It's okay. I am going to get rid of some of these unordered lists inside here. The staging. So we can get rid of, for instance, just a few of these ULs. We only really need one inside there. And of that one, we really only need like one of the list items. We don't need all of those. Oh, this is interesting. So there's actually invisible list items. So delete, 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 delete. That's okay. Let's see. I think we can probably get rid of this div. So what I'm going to do is pull this UL out of there. Get rid of that div. This listage element, I'll probably pull that UL. Oops, I pulled it way out of there. But that's okay. We can delete these two things now. And this pager bottom, we can delete that. So we still have the UL. You see there's still that large gap right there. So we're really kind of stripping things away. We have this sub. Now this, I'm a little hesitant to just delete. We can always Control Z if it takes the problem away. So I'm going to hit delete real quick. Yeah, so that's not at all what we want. So sub, I'm going to start to peel into there real quick and see what is happening. We have field sets, this compare paragraph. These two field sets, looks like one of them might be behind the dev tools, maybe. No, this filter by. So it may be the case that the filter by is only visible whenever something inside this first one changes. And so let's delete the second one. We have a label here and a select element. But the field set itself, you notice the bounds of the field set, the size of it, it goes off of the actual box that it's inside. So I'm assuming if that wasn't a field set, the field set itself has some styles, this margin. If we were to take that off, it probably fixes it. Yep, that's not exactly what we want. So the problem here is the field set is actually being pushed down. You notice it actually goes over the bounds of the left column here. It goes over the 240 pixel margin on the side. So that is definitely going to be the problem for us. I think that might even be something, it's good enough for us to go ahead and reduce this now and start to create a quick example of this inside of another document that we can then submit with a bug that we file. So I'm going to, let's see, I still want to jump into this just a little bit and see if we can't get rid of a couple items. This select element is not going to be necessary. This label may not be necessary. So we have a field set. I don't even think the field set is going to be, or this resultado busca filtro. I don't think that's going to be necessary. So that's the filtered search results right here. So let's pull this field set up out of there and just get rid of that div. And I'm still seeing, I don't think this sub, probably not necessary either. So let's put that out there. Oh, okay, wait. Nope, it is necessary. So what styles does sub have? Sub is a div. We have this paragraph that, let's see if we can get rid of that. We can simplify this a little bit and actually change the HTML of this UL so that we don't have a bunch of stuff. We could just say hello world and then click off of there. Now you notice that is a much simpler DOM structure right there. I'm going to get rid of footer. We don't need that. This modal, we don't need it. Drag background, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need that. And ooh, what is this? ID developer. What is this? So looks like just a little way for the developer to get some credit. Gustavo Halsalem. Gustavo, obrigado por seu código. Let's see here. that sounded kind of sarcastic. It's not at all sarcastic. It's just looking at this now, I don't think we're going to need any of this stuff inside the sidebar column either. So if I go back up and I close down the main content, the wrapper, we'll leave that. I don't think we're going to need that though, honestly. We take off the min width and the max width. Yeah, we don't really care about those. The min width, the max width, the min width. We're not going to need any of this stuff. So actually the left column and the main content, we can pull both of those out of the wrapper, get rid of the wrapper as well. So we'll pull this out. Main content, we'll pull that out. Notice we still have the layout issue, but now we can get rid of wrapper. We're just kind of slowly unpacking the DOM just a bit. So let's see. I think we can probably do the same thing with main body. There's our margin top. So the margin top on the main body is definitely going to be the ugly thing. So we have a couple of those. Margin body 90 pixels, then 161. So let's get out of that too. So we're going to take left column out of there. Main content out of there. We still have the layout issue. That's good, but we can now delete main body. So now we're inside global container. I don't think this is going to have anything to do with it either. So let's go ahead and pull left content out of there. The only thing we could run into is the CSS selectors that actually leverage like the ID global container, and then they use nested selectors inside there too to add some styling to the side column or to the main content. But it looks like that may not be the case. So some of these elements might be required only for styling purposes. Okay, so now we've deleted that too. We have left column and main content. It looks like we're kind of getting in a good spot here. I'm going to go ahead and extend left column a couple times. We have a div navigation, a div URL last search. We'll get rid of that URL last search. It's not even visible. Then we'll start to look inside navigation. So search single. I think we could get rid of some of these. So this URL. Now this is going to bring that layer, that content up as we start to delete more items. And so you can see there's that relationship where there's almost this blue line right here that almost signifies, as far as the layout is concerned, as high as the content to the right can go. And so as we delete more stuff in the sidebar, that blue line kind of moves up and the content over on the right moves up alongside with it. So I don't know that I want to delete a whole lot of stuff. One thing I could do is say, you know what, this div right here, I'm going to actually set an explicit height on navigation. So let's do a height of 300 pixels. And then I can probably just delete everything inside there. Yep. So navigation has a fixed height, and I'll give it a background color just so we can see it. Make that a black box. Okay. So we have, let's just kind of look at what we have here now. So in fact, nav left, maybe we can put the fixed height and stuff on there and see this still work. So let's do height 300 pixels, and we'll do another background color right here, and then see if we can just delete everything inside there. Sure enough, we can. Okay, excellent. Main content. I'm going to go ahead and expand that out just a little bit. This ID, let's see, this div right here, do we need that? Main is the primary. Okay, we do need sub. Now this stuff down here, I don't know that we needed a whole lot, so we can get rid of this sub. This is the search results time. Get rid of that. This is just, this div is really nothing more than text. So let's edit the HTML of this div, and we'll just call this one Hello World. We don't need to have the additional markup if we just have text inside there. So now that is even simpler. Now we still have sub here. Sub has that empty field set inside of it. So this might be all we really need to start to create our reduction at this point. Notice we have ripped away 98, 99% of this page, all the while preserving this particular layout bug. Someone just tweeted, "What is Edge?" Oh my goodness! Like we're too far down the road. Like we're too far. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this now. We essentially have two top level elements. We have a left column and a main content. So what I'm going to do at this point is, let's see here. I think I can start with a live kind of debugging session here. So I'm going to go to jsbin.net. And we'll see. I might be able to go ahead and stream the reduction process. One thing I'm wondering though is if I don't think JSBin will actually stream like my mouse cursor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. I'll just do the reduction over here on this machine. I wanted to leave this this tab unaffected, but it's okay. I think we'll be all right. So let's go to jsbin.com. I think it might be jsbin.com. Okay, so what we're going to do is put two top level elements. So we'll do left, and let me just kind of beef up the screen size here, right. And we're going to jump in and we're going to say the left has a height of 300, a width, which I'm going to put on the top line because width is a shorter word than height, of 240 px, or we'll do 230 px, and a background of black, solid black. So there is our element right there. Next we need to do the right element, and this also needs to be float left, right, float left. There we go. So that looks basically identical. The only thing is now we've actually pulled it, content can now wrap around it. So right is going to be, we'll give that a background of red, and we'll give that a min height of 300 pixels as well. So you notice there right is off to the, that's really interesting. This may be enough to, this actually, I want to copy this and open it up inside Firefox real quick. Because you notice how right is the same, oh, min height, okay. Yeah, I gave min height the, okay. Totally blanking there. I thought I just said height. Actually, if I don't give it any height, we shouldn't see it. Okay, yeah, this is, I thought that for some reason I just magically made this repro with only like 2 lines of CSS because the element should not have had any height, but I explicitly told it to have a min height of 300. So, okay, let's see here. Next thing, the right column. If we jump back inside here, look at our dev tools. So left column was a width of 230, a height of 300, background color of the solid black, and float left. I believe that is everything we have. Float left, 230, 300, background of black. Okay, now we look at the right side, which in this case is main content. That has a margin left of 240. Okay, so let's do margin left, 240 px, and I will do a min height on this. We'll do min height so that it's not 0. We'll give it a min height of 10 pixels or something. So that looks about right. That's off to the right hand side like we would expect it to be. Now we need to jump in and start replicating the sub tree of that. So as we expand that element out, you notice we start to look at what's inside it. So immediately inside it we have a div. The div does not have really anything going on. It has a solid background color, but that doesn't really matter to us. So we're going to put that div inside here. Next up we have, what is that? Another div here, div class main. Main also doesn't really have any style on it. There's not really a whole lot going on here. So we're going to do a second div. We're going to wind up removing some of those. And then immediately inside here we have a third div that also doesn't have any styling whatsoever to do with it. So third div, we're definitely going to delete some of these. And now we get down to the field set. The field set has, I don't know that the padding or anything is going to be a real issue here. It might, just because it does push it out just a little bit further. Let's go ahead and jump back over here real quick and just kind of poke at that a little bit. Padding, we can take off of there. Border, none. We can take off of there. Width, 103 pixels. We can take that off of there as well. Then we have this padding. Remove that. Line height, remove that. Border, overflow hidden, border radius, box shadow. We'll take these border and box shadows off as well. Take this border, box shadow, border radius, padding. Okay, that's still good. Looking at the green up there. Green is the border top, possibly. So we might still see some border styles down here. Doesn't look like it. This actually looks like it's fairly good now. There's still these global styles in place, padding and stuff. So I'm just going to put a field set inside there. The field set is going to have this margin in place, though, because if we remove that margin, it collapses. So let's go ahead and drop a field set inside here. Field sets, if you're not familiar with them, are kind of nice encompassing elements for form elements and stuff. So if you have a label and an input, oftentimes you'll put those inside of the field set itself. So I want to add some styles now for my field set so I can replicate the styles on nerdstore.com.br. And those were all margin styles that we have right now. That was -10, -20, 15, -20. So -10, -20, 15, -20. And there you go. So that causes the reduction for us right there. Just that alone is easy to see because we have the border on the field set, that default border. And so if we were to reduce the height of the sidebar to 200 or something, we could take away the min height here. Ideally, the rightmost column, the red box, should be much shorter. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL real quick, and we'll just try this out in another browser. Do I have another browser on here? I'm going to try this on my desktop real quick. You can open up this URL that you're looking at inside of another browser if you want to. This is the address right here. I'm going to go ahead and try it over here. What should I try? I'll try it in a Blink engine. So I'm opening up Brave on my desktop right now. I don't know what version of Blink that has. It's probably not going to matter a whole lot, though. We tested this inside Firefox. And, okay, so this is jsbin.com/kawunigapu/edit, and you tell them which panels you want to see. I'm just going to do HTML, output. And sure enough, inside Blink, no repro. So the issue is definitely, if you look inside any other browser, I'm assuming that Gecko is going to look much like Blink does, and so Firefox and Brave and Chrome are going to look all the same. The content, the field set actually looks like it's maybe rendered underneath the floated element off to the left. So I think we could probably strip away these divs right here to where it's just the left and the right, and we have the div inside, or the field set inside. And sure enough, that's still going to repro for us. So yeah, and you probably noticed too, if you went to the URL, you probably saw the actual markup change as I removed it inside here. I11 has the same issue. Yeah, this is, layout issues like this are probably going to be genetic, in that they've lied dormantly inside IE in order to be discovered someday, because obviously Edge has its roots in the old IE code base, It is dramatically different today. We have ripped out literally hundreds of thousands of lines of code, but there could still be some portions, you know, in there that cause some issues. And so this does look like it's a reduction. We can say now that's, you know, it might even be, we might be able to get away with even ripping out the right portion. Let me see here. So I'm curious if I strip away, and I have, so Brave opened up over here. If I strip away right div, and we give this a margin left of negative 240, well, 240. Yeah, no, that's not going to be really all that helpful. So this is kind of what we want. We want the field set to extend that element's height down as it tries to wrap around the floated element to the side there. Obviously, one way to get around this would be presumably to set the overflow of the right to hidden. Yeah. So if Nerd Store, if anyone knows a contact there, actually we know the gentleman's name. I just remembered that we actually have that in a DOM element. If they on the right side, so if we go back over here, if we look at this whole portion of code right here, if we come to the where was it, main content, and we set overflow to hidden, you notice that fixes the layout issue. So we can actually, let's refresh this. Let's just test that real quick. So this is our theory that setting overflow hidden is going to fix the layout issues. We're going to expect to see the giant space up here. There it is. And if we come inside here and we find that particular region, we go up to main content, which is right there next to left column, and we add inside here overflow hidden. That resolves the issue for us. So this is fantastic. We know what the problem is. We can now file a bug. Jason says it learned so much. That's epic. You know, if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed that walkthrough, you know, please do let people know on Twitter. You know, the idea is to use these sessions to teach people how to debug, you know, debug sites, debug layout issues, reduce the issue. And so in this case, if we just kind of briefly go back over the steps that we took again, we load the site and we start to rip away parts of the page that are not closely related to the item that we're seeing. So in this case, the header, we can get rid of the header. The footer, we can get rid of the footer. We look at the sidebar, and there are items inside the sidebar that we can start to pull away as well because they're just not necessary. So in this case, we're looking at the sidebar, and we have coleccionables at the top. I'm so glad that everyone enjoyed this. We had Cozina at the bottom, and then we have a whole different section down here with shirts, books, accessories. All of that can be ripped out. And we start to keep pulling out as much as we possibly can and trying to simplify smaller portions of the DOM. So you notice we would say, okay, for instance, we don't need this div. So we take the items that are inside that div and we move them up above it so they are no longer children, they're siblings, and then we can delete that div. So yeah, this is excellent. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed this. Let's go ahead and next step is obviously to file the bug. So this is what we need to file. This is our reduction right here. We can strip away, let's see. Yeah, I think this is actually as simple as the reduction gets. And so what we can do now, we can make this a little bit, you know, a little bit simpler. We could actually just say margin left -20 or something like that. So let's do margin left -20 px. And that is enough. So we actually don't have to set all of the top margins and stuff. We can just increase the individual margin down here. We'll make it 25 just to really kind of drive home what the problem is. So I'm going to file a bug on this particular issue. Everyone else who notices this, I'm going to hope that all of you sign in to bugs.microsoftedge.com and click Me Too. And we can actually get this thing wrapped up and get someone working on it. So let's see, I'm going to go to bugs.microsoftedge.com. And what we're going to do is call this particular bug, let's see, we'll just mention the large gap. So Lee is saying, hey, maybe I've got a career in this. Who knows? No, Lee, this is, I cannot state it emphatically enough. This is who I am. This is what I love doing. So when people ask me, hey, are we going to stop doing weekend warrior stuff? And it's unlikely. It is so unlikely that I'm going to stop doing things like this. May not be doing them on the weekends. I don't know. But I can't stop doing this. For a couple of years, I was going through the HTML5 and the CSS 2.1 specifications and just teaching the specifications themselves, because a lot of people love web development. They want to learn. And honestly, the best way to learn is to learn to love the specifications themselves. Not to have to go onto websites that have tutorials and walkthroughs and stuff, because sometimes those tutorials and walkthroughs are written based upon unspecified features, unspec'd features, features that are not standards between the different browser vendors and stuff. And so if you can learn to love the spec, then you can definitely excel. And so I was going through and just teaching the specifications online as well. Did that for a couple of years a while back. So we're going to open up a new issue, and we're going to say a large gap above content on nerdstore.com.br. This is going to be a page layout issue, so I'm going to file it there. We're going to say step 1, navigate to http://nerdstore.com.br/busca. And let's see. Actually, I'm going to put just the link to this particular page directly, because that should help out. Make the repro steps a little easier. Step 2, note the gap above the content. And we're going to put in here, let's see, the reduction URL that we have. Where was that? That was in a different browser for me. That was over here inside Brave. And we'll copy that reduction URL. And let's see. We're going to paste that into the bug itself. And we'll put in the description as well. Description of the problem. Right column contains a field set element with negative margins that causes it to extend beyond the floated left navigation boundary. This causes a wrapping to take place, pushing the content down unnecessarily. Workaround: use overflow hidden on the right column element. Okay, so that should be fairly decent right now. I want to, so that was Jason that had shared that. I want to grab Jason's tweet again real quick. Kade. Let's see. Show. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this link right here, and that way Jason gets credit for sharing this awesome bug. Okay, so that looks good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit submit on this. Oops, I almost said gab instead of gap. So Illusion is saying that the CSS HTML specs are okay to read, but the ECMAScript spec is really hard to read. ECMAScript, if you think about it, it's actually gotten a lot better. We may jump over and look at that spec real quick in just a few minutes, because they've done some nice work on just the aesthetics of the specification itself. Okay, so let's open the issue. Now this particular bug is going to be bug number, let's see, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer are both affected by this. Bug number, I bet it starts with an 8. 883-2174. So I'm going to post that inside the chat room real quick. If you were here during that whole process, that reduction, as they're called, because we are reducing the site to just as few bytes as we possibly can that preserves the issue. If you were here through that whole reduction, or you navigate to that URL today and you're able to see that large gap in the content above all the content, please sign in to bugs.microsoftedge.com via the URL that I just posted here. In there, you will find a button after you've signed in that says Me Too. Click on that. That indicates to us that more people are seeing this than just me. If I'm the only one seeing it, then it's not that important. If everyone is seeing it, it's very important. So that's fantastic. This worked out really, really well. I'm super stoked about this bug. Yeah. So Lee, thank you very much for the kind words. I'm hoping that I don't stop these anytime soon. Let's see. So I'm going to tweet out that we actually successfully reduced that, because that was a fun one. So successfully reduced the issue seen on, let's see, the large gap issue on, what's that URL? Let me jump back to Jason's tweet. Okay, I'm going to get the nerdstore.com.br, copy a link. Actually, I'll just say successfully reduced nerd store. And we're supposed to link to the bug here. All right. So, excellent. That is all up on Twitter now. So, see, Carlos Eduardo Oliveira Silva is asking, your eye doesn't burn for you to spend that much time looking at the computer. Not even a little bit. I mean, I understand a lot of people have problems, staring at screens all day long, but I just simply don't. Evil Pro says that live streams are really good, which is why you should totally continue them. I learned a lot during the issue, that issue reduction. Hey, that's the whole point of this. We actually get to have a lot of fun. A lot of people have no idea the amount of tooling that is built into the browser itself. And if you think about it, if you go back and you look at the history of web browsers, you go back to, I almost said Stan Lee, but it's not Stan Lee. Tim Berners-Lee, Stan Lee's younger brother, obviously. Tim Berners-Lee, whenever he built one of the first web browsers, it was called the World Wide Web. I mean, that's what we talk about today as synonymous with the internet. But the web browser itself was called World Wide Web. And his browser had developer tools type of things inside there, authoring tools. And it's really cool. It's just kind of been something that's always been with the browser. IE didn't originally have them. There were some tooling that you had, but around PDC 2005, I think, is when the IE developer toolbar came in, to public view. You can find blog posts about it. This was 2007 maybe or so. 2000, it might have been 2005. Around that time, the IE developer toolbar kind of popped into existence, and that gave developers in Internet Explorer, which were pretty much most of us, the ability to make some small changes inside web pages. And then later on, obviously Firefox popped up and happened, and the Firebug was another set of developer tools that someone had developed that was, I believe, just an extension. It was an extension to Firefox before there were really any good developer tools. And Firebug was a way to do much of what we just did here, where you can manipulate the DOM, you can delete elements. And if you think about it, there's all these different types of methods in JavaScript to do much of what we were just doing. So if we move an element, we move a div up above another div, well, we have methods to do that in JavaScript. You can use the insert before method, or you can do, I don't think there was an insert after, but you could insert, you could append one thing, insert another one before it. You could find all these different ways to kind of work around those limitations. But a lot of really great stuff. Jason has to go. Jason, muito obrigado por o link. Muito obrigado por o website quebrado. Thank you for the giving us something to do a reduction on. So, ciao. Let's see. So let's go ahead and look at, maybe there's another URL that we can check out. Let's see. So, okay. So I'm going to look at, see if we have any other URLs that we can kind of really quickly go through. Yep. I might actually take a quick break. And maybe this entire video right here would just be, for the most part, nerdstore.com.br reduction. Might take about a 10 or 15 minute break. Just kind of let the vocal cords relax a bit. Maybe get something small to snack on again real quick. It's been a couple hours now since we've eaten. So let's see. Yeah, so Lee Bridgewater says, I used to develop websites back in 2006, stopped in 2010. Just stumbled across Jonathan's live channel this evening. I'm in the UK, and I think I have the web development bug starting to come back. That's awesome. My goal is to infect you. That's really kind of the worst way to encourage the passion of web development. My goal is to get you fired up. How about that? To infect you with the bug, yes, of wanting to build websites. It is so much fun. I mean, and maybe we can go through and talk about how it is to set up a GitHub Pages site, because one of the things that people really struggle with whenever they get into the industry is, how do I host my site? I know for me, back in 1996 or something, I didn't know what a server was. I literally had no idea what a server was. I knew that there was this box in our keyboarding class in high school that the teacher referred to as the server. I could have as easily believed that there were fairies pumping like magical pixie dust around inside the boundaries of that box, because it was complete voodoo to me. And obviously, so whenever someone was like, oh, well, you just need to get an FTP access to a remote server, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, none of this makes sense. And even if I do get an FTP access to a remote server, whatever this is, how do I get one of them .com things? And like, oh, and how do I point the .com and make it work with the thing? And it just doesn't work. GitHub.com, they have GitHub Pages. It's very, very trivial. Maybe we'll go through and set up one of those here in just a bit. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and stop this stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I will literally be back in about 10 or 15 minutes. And I'll try and collect and curate a list of more URLs. If you come across a site that is broken, layout issues like this, just let me know, and maybe we'll make the next debugging video today all about your issue and what you found. So thank you very much. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes in the third debugging session for this Microsoft Weekend Warrior, the very last series of Microsoft Weekend Warrior debugging sessions, because I'm moving on to different challenges and leaving Microsoft. But I'm never leaving you. I love you. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.